Well, I got two new stickers in the last few days. I got one from Spindle's Workshop, Louis, and he has a lot of nice turnings, and specifically has a couple of spalted wood turnings that I really like. And you ought to go check him out. I'll have a link. And additionally, my son pointed out that his logo there is a fractal tree, and my son is into fractals. He's done lots of YouTube videos of fractals zooming in and out, and it's Mandelbrot fractals in particular. He's got quite a few videos. Second sticker I got was from Doug from Pole Barn Productions. He has an amazing amount of imaginative turnings, a lot of them with epoxy in them, and I would love to be able to make as many things as he has, or as many varieties, and come up with the imaginative things that he has. I think you should go look at his page if you haven't already. He is a pretty good big YouTube person for turning, and I'll have a link above for his also. Okay, here is another pair of boards from my Spalted Maple series that came from my neighbor's fallen tree. And this one looks pretty good. This one's definitely going to be something. Because I'm offset, this one's a little thicker than that one. And so I don't know for sure. I think I'll be able to make something out of both. But in the end, I've got the worm screw hole in there. I'm going to mount this is going to be my top. I don't know for sure what I'll do with this one, whether I turn it over. It's go back and forth. But you'll note this has some red and gray, mostly gray. Obviously maple should be a lot lighter than this, but that's what color I got right now. Okay, here is my first coat of finish on my Spalted Maple crotch wing. I don't know what you call these bowls, but it's a natural edge. No bark on it. I'm very shallow because the total thickness is relatively small. The other half of the board, I think I showed those in an earlier part of the video. Probably talked about it already. You can note there's a lot of dark gray and a little bit of orange and some natural maple color. So this first coat of finish, it'll be a few coats and then I'll be done with that. Okay, here is my finished crotch bowl where I've left the wings on, or the branches on. I've put a bead in this like I Phil Anderson had a video recently where he showed a bead that added character, and so I had commented on that one that I thought I should add them, and so in this one I did. It's not a rounded bead, it's flat on the top surface. It's fairly wide, but it definitely brings out some characteristic that you wouldn't see otherwise, something else to look at. I've got my new turntable here. My son laser scribed my logo into it. And I have this is a spalted maple from a series of 5, I don't know how many now are in that series. But my neighbor had a maple tree fall, and I cut crotches and other interesting pieces of wood out of it, and I've been making pieces. Now this has a second half that I'll probably make something similar to this, and so I may end up with a double video when I get done. Okay, this is the second half of a crotch that I cut. I've turned the first half into a bowl. I'm going to turn this into a half. I've got it ready for my wood worm screw. I've got a penciled circle here, which is going to be the bowl outside diameter. I'll probably put a bead on here like I did on the other one. And this one's a little thinner, so it'll be more of a challenge. And right now the bark is all well attached. You can see, you may not be able to see it, but I can see there's a space right there. And you can see it's not attached real tight right inside this valley here either. Now whether it comes off, I might get lucky and it might stay on. But that would be the only difference. The other one I made, entirely all the bark came off. So we'll see what happens with this. Okay, excuse me. Okay, I've got it turned around. This is my additional series of maple, spalted maple crotch. This is the other half of the one I've done. I've got it sanded to 400 on the areas that are machined by the turning, and then flap sanded to 180 with the Sandoflex in the areas that are not machined. It's turned around. My intent is to make a dish here with a bead around the top of it, probably a square bead rather than a rounded bead. Don't have a beading tool. I don't think I'd be talented enough to get it right. I've obviously got to get rid of some of the saw marks on here, and I'll get going on that real soon here. Here's my pair of book match spalted maple crotch bowls. They're very similar. They both have a bead. I was watching a video with Shady Acres, Phil Anderson, and he had commented that he had a bead, and on that I had commented I needed to add beads to some of mine. This gave it a feature that you can now, something extra to look at. The lighter one I like better. It's finished with a solid bowl finish, so it's a little shinier, and it didn't darken up as much as the one that I used the Danish oil on, and it turned out quite a bit darker. But the Danish oil one, the feel is so much nicer because the shiny one tends to feel like slick like glass, whereas the one that's finished with Danish oil is a supple feel. It's nice and soft and smooth. This is also on my new turntable that my son made for me. Laser etched my logo into it, and so this way it's a bigger spinner, and it has my logo in it. And let's see, what else? This is from a whole series of spalted maple that came from my neighbor's fallen tree that I went and collected crotches and other interesting branches, and I've made, I don't know, 7 or 8 bowls, and I've still got 2 or 3 more coming.